Om Ajnanathimirandasyat Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone, Hare Krishna. So we continue to read from Srimad Bhagavatam. We were at text 45. So we'll read that and we'll proceed ahead. Text 45. Traya chopanishadbhischa sankhya yogaisha satvataihi upagiya mana mahatmyam harim samanyatatmajam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Mother Yashoda's spontaneous love has been glorified here, and the purport is brilliant by Srila Prabhupada. I would like to read from the second half of the purport, where Srila Prabhupada mentions that when Parvati asked Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, what is the best method of upasana or worship, Lord Shiva answered, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam param. Vishnu upasana or Vishnu Aradhana, worship of Lord Vishnu, is the highest stage of perfection, as realized by Devaki. But here, Mother Yashoda performs no upasana, for she has developed transcendental ecstatic love for Krishna. Therefore, her position is better than that of Devaki. In order to show this, Srila Vyasadeva enunciates this verse, Traya cha Upanishad bhija. Even towards the end, Srila Prabhupada writes, Bhagavan has personally descended to become her beloved child. Therefore, there is no comparison to Mother Yashoda's good fortune, as declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramya Kajidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. One may be, again towards the end, one may be a karmi, a jnani, a yogi, and a bhakta or prema bhakta. Ultimate stage of realization is prema bhakta, as actually demonstrated by Mother Yashoda. At this point, it's important to bring to our discussion the position of Devaki Rani, the position of Vasudev, the position of Nanda Maharaj, the position of Yashoda. In India, it's a popular understanding that Krishna is actually the son of Devaki and Vasudev, and he was just taken care by Nanda and Yashoda. If Bhagavatam has to answer that question as to who is the parent of Krishna, is it Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Rani, or is it Devaki Rani and Vasudev Maharaj? Srila Jiva Goswami Pad answers that both of them are. Nanda Yashoda are also parents, and Devaki and Vasudeva are also parents. Sri Jiva Goswami in the Sandarbhas, he explains that just like Vrindavan is eternal, Mathura Mandal is also eternal, Dwarka Mandal is also eternal, Krishna's abodes are eternal. Everything about Krishna is eternal. I am going to go a little detour and then come back to what we are discussing. I hope I come back. Harikatha is quite slippery. We don't know where we take an exit and we forget our route. In our discussion in the 8th chapter, we came to a point where Gargacharya said, Bahuni santi namani rupani cha sutasyate guna karma anurupani tanyaham veda nojana. There, if you see, Gargacharya uses asdhatu in Sanskrit in plural usage. So, asadhatu in third person singular present tense would be asti. Very, very famous Sanskrit word, asti. Right? Asti means is. But santi means are. Present tense, but plural usage. If you say that there is a boy, you say Balaha Asti or Balakaha Asti. But if you have to say there are many boys, then Balakaha Santi. There are many boys, right? So Gargacharya is using present tense, plural usage to say Bahuni Santi Namani Rupani cha Sutasyate. O Nanda Maharaj, your child has. He doesn't say had. He is not saying will have. He says has in the plural. Many names, Namani, and many forms, Rupani. And the word Bahuni goes with both. Bahuni Namani, Bahuni Rupani Santi. Now Nanda Maharaj may have this question. My child is only on my lap. Why are you saying there are many forms? There's only one form. There's only one baby on my lap. Why are you saying there are many forms? And till now you have given only two names. You have said Kṛṣṇa and you have said Vasudev. Pragayam Vasudevasya Kvachit Jata Tavatmaja. These are the two names you have given. Vasudeva iti Shriman Abhijñasam Prachakshate, and you're saying he has many names, he has many forms. Gargacharya, I feel he has only two names. And he has only one form. Why are you saying he has many forms and many names? Sri Jiva Goswami Pada answers it so brilliantly with or by borrowing a verse from the 3rd chapter of the 10th canto. When Kṛṣṇa appears from Devaki Rani, Shukdev Goswami says, Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashaya. Shukdev Goswami says, Kṛṣṇa appeared from Devaki like the moon rises in the eastern direction. Avir asit yatha prachyam. Just like Prachi, from the eastern direction the moon rises. Similarly, Kṛṣṇa rose from Devaki. This is what the 3rd chapter, 10th canto describes. Now the question we ask ourselves is, at this point, so it is around 7:45 in the morning here, the place where I am, in the Eastern time zone in America. So it is morning time. But there is a place around the world at this point where the moon is rising in the east. There may be some country where there is moonrise at this point, right? Now when the class gets over, we take 1 or 1.5 hours break, and then there is Venugeet that begins in the Hindi class. Then the time will be around 3 or 4 hours from now. And still at that point, there will be some point in the world where in the eastern direction the moon is rising. The point to be made is at every moment around the world, there is some country in some time zone where there is sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset going on. So when Kṛṣṇa appeared from Devaki, Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, he elaborates the example that Shukdev Goswami gave, that Kṛṣṇa appeared from the east. Like the moon appears in the east, Kṛṣṇa appeared from Devaki. Kṛṣṇa appeared from Devaki like the moon appears from the east. So what does that mean? How many moons are there? If the question is asked, well, there is one moon. There is one moon. But that moon is continuously rising in the eastern direction in so many countries around the world. Similarly, the point to be noted is one Kṛṣṇa. He is at one given moment in some or the other material universe making his appearance. Just like at every moment the moon is rising in some eastern direction around the world in some country, similarly in some material universe, at this point Kṛṣṇa is making his appearance. So there is Janmashtami going on right now in some material world. There is Damodar Leela going on in some material world at this moment. There is Govardhan Leela going on at this moment in some material world. There is Kaliya Daman Leela going on in some material world at this moment. The point we are trying to say is, just like the moon rises in the east, and it is a continuous phenomenon. Of course, for us it happens once a day, but for some of the other country around the world, at every moment this is happening. So similarly, in this day of Brahma, Damodar Leela takes place once in our world, but at every moment Damodar Leela, Govardhan Leela, and Mrid Bhakshan Leela, eating of the dirt pastime, Krishna's appearance, Krishna's going to Mathura, all these pastimes are going on simultaneously in different universes, parallel universes in the material world. Krishna Leela is going on, and therefore when we speak Harikatha, Let's say Govardhan Leela is being spoken right now. There is Govardhan Leela going on somewhere, and therefore, this is not description of past. Hari Katha is always in the present, Santi. It is the present tense usage that Gargacharya uses, not the past tense or the future tense, to show that all the forms, all the names, all the Leelas, all the abodes exist simultaneously at this very moment. Therefore, O Nanda Maharaj, Bahuni Santi. There are many names, there are many forms, there are many abodes. So when Govardhan Lila is being spoken right now, it is not description of a historical text. Now, for example, if I speak about the Mughals entering India or British invading India, I cannot say in parallel universes British are invading India at this moment. I cannot say that. And I don't wish to say that even if that is true. Right? So if we are saying something, it is narration of a historical event, something of the past. So it is past tense. He came, he saw, he conquered, past tense. But in Krishna Lila, it is not that Krishna existed, Krishna lifted, Krishna killed, Krishna danced, Krishna sang. No, Krishna lifts, Krishna dances, Krishna sings, Krishna exists in parallel universes. And therefore, when we are speaking Govardhan Lila right now, and Govardhan Lila is going on in some universe, this is direct broadcast of what is happening. So Hari Katha is not, as people think, oh, you're describing the same pastime over and over again. We know Damodar Lila, we know Putana Uddhar, we know Govardhan Lila. No, every time we hear it, Hari Katha is transporting us to that realm where that Leela is taking place. So this is direct broadcast of the present tense. And therefore, Shukdev Goswami, he says, Avirasit yatha prachya. Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnudhar Sarva Guhashaya. This is all, whatever I'm saying, these are all interpretations of Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, of his study notes of the Bhagavatam. He says, Krishna appeared from Devaki like the moon appeared in the eastern direction, which means just like the moon continuously appears, Krishna is continuously appearing. Now, Sri Jiva Goswami adds another piece to this. He says, just because the moon rises in the east direction, you cannot say that the east is the mother. Just because the moon rises in the east, you cannot say that the east direction is the mother. Just like when the ocean gives birth to the moon, you cannot say, like in the evening time when you see the sun is setting into the ocean or the moon is rising from the ocean, you cannot say that the ocean is eating up or killing the sun. Or we cannot say that the ocean is the mother and giving birth to the moon. Of course, in the milk ocean pastime, yes. But in our natural phenomena, when you see mountains drawn and from the middle there is a sun rising, you cannot say that the mountains are creating the sun. And we cannot say that the oceans are killing the sun, right? Sri Jiva Goswami Pad takes it even further to say, just because Varahadev came from the nostril of Brahma, Brahmaji doesn't become the father. Varahadev doesn't become the son. Just because Narasimhadev came from a pillar doesn't mean the pillar is the father and Narasimha is the son. Just because Krishna entered the womb of Uttara doesn't mean Uttara is the mother and Krishna is the child. 3 examples are given by Sri Jiva Goswami. Just because Varahadev appeared from the nostril of Brahma doesn't mean Brahma is the father and Varahadev is the son. Just because Narasimhadev appeared from a pillar doesn't mean the pillar is the father. Narasimha is not called Stambhanandan, the son of a pillar. The pillar is not the father, right? So pillar is not the father, Narasimha is not the son, Brahma is not the father, Varaha is not the son. Similarly, Uttara is not the mother, Krishna is not the son, although the appearance takes place. And just like the moon is not the sun and the eastern direction is not the mother, Sri Jiva Goswami Pad says Krishna did definitely appear from Devaki and Vasudev, but they are not his eternal parents in Goloka Vrindavan. So now, should you say they are parents or they are not the parents? Because now if you see Devaki Rani, She definitely manifested Krishna. Vasudeva and Devaki manifested Krishna, right? And if you see, Krishna spent more time with them. In Krishna's pastimes, Krishna spent only 10 years and 7 months with Nanda and Yashoda. And we say Nanda and Yashoda are foster parents. That's what we say in India. We say that Nanda and Yashoda are not actual parents, they just took care of Krishna. And Devaki and Vasudeva, they gave birth to Krishna. And Krishna stayed more time with them. If you see in Krishna's life presentation or his manifest presence, 10 years, 7 months in Vrindavan. Then he went to Mathura, then he went to Dwaraka, and Devaki, Vasudeva were there throughout as parents. So more time with them, and they also manifested Krishna. So naturally we should say that Nanda and Yashoda are not the parents and Devaki and Vasudeva are the parents. What is the reality? The reality is, now we are saying both things. First we said Devaki and Vasudeva are not the parents just because the moon rises in the east. Then we are saying they must be parents because they manifested and Krishna spent more time with them. So how do you reconcile this? Sri Jiva Goswami Pad says, Bahuni santi namani rupani cha sutasyate guna karmanu rupani tanyaham vedanojana. Krishna is only in one form sitting on the lap of Nanda Maharaj. So if plural usage is said, santi, there are many forms. Where are those forms? One understanding is all the avatars are in him. Therefore, even though he's sitting in one singular on Nanda Maharaj's lap, still it is plural because all the forms are in him. Or another understanding is just like there are parallel universes where there are leelas going on, the forms are manifest everywhere, the qualities are there, the leelas are going on. So there must be abodes also, eternal abodes. So Sri Jiva Goswami concludes that Nanda Yashoda and Devaki Vasudeva both are eternal parents. But in Vrindavan, Nanda and Yashoda. Outside Vrindavan, Devaki and Vasudeva. And if you have to pick one between the two, then Nanda and Yashoda. Because our goal is to attain Vrindavan. So if we want to be Brajbasi, then we have to believe what the Brajbasis believe. And they believe that Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna is the son of Yashoda Rani. So by saying Krishna has many forms, it means there are many abodes. And by saying he has many abodes, which means his relations with his associates are also eternal. And of all these personalities, we did the hierarchy also in one of our sessions before from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that yes, Devaki and Vasudeva are great, Nanda and Yashoda are greater. Yashoda Rani's name is the greatest. She is number one as far as her position of love is concerned. So we should never think Yashoda Rani and Nanda Baba were only caretakers. They eternally come from Goloka Vrindavan as the parents of Krishna. And when Krishna steps out of Vrindavan and he goes to Mathura and Dwaraka, then Devaki and Vasudeva. But in Vrindavan, Nanda and Yashoda. Nanda Yashoda come from that world into this world. As Krishna comes, the associates also come. The eternal associates also come. So this is the understanding of who is the parent, who is eternal. Now comes another confusion. When one box of confusion is closed, another box opens up. So just to reconcile till now what we have studied, and then we'll proceed ahead. First we said, how many sets of parents does Krishna have? He has 2 sets of parents. Then if the question is asked, which among them are eternal? Well, both are eternal. Then if you say between the two, how do we understand who is the birth parent and who is the appearance parent? Well, Nanda and Yashoda are the birth parents. They give birth to Krishna. Sri Jiva Goswami in his Gopal Champu writes how Krishna appeared in 2 forms when he appeared. He appeared through Devaki and Vasudeva in the prison house as Vishnu. And he appeared as Krishna, as a baby to Nanda and Yashoda. Nanda Yashoda gave birth to baby Krishna. Devaki and Vasudeva made the appearance of Vishnu. And both those forms combined in one and performed pastimes in Vrindavan. Because when Krishna existed in Vrindavan and Vasudeva Maharaj carried Krishna, the 2 Krishnas mixed. And in this way, it was one form who was moving around in Vrindavan. And butter eating, Yashodanandan. Speaking lies, Yashodanandan. Getting scared, Yashodanandan. Playing with friends and throwing tantrums, Yashodanandan, son of Yashoda. But killing Putana, Devaki Nandan, son of Devaki and Vasudev. Showing universe in the mouth, Devaki Nandan, son of Devaki and Vasudev. Yashodanandan is a baby, how he will show universe? So when they combine, this is when we see that he who is so used to drinking Yamuna water is also sipping forest fire. Yashoda's son is drinking Yamuna water, but Devaki and Vasudev's son, Mahavishnu, who appeared in a 400 form in Mathura, he is sipping forest fire. So they are both acting at the same time, Mugdha and Sarvajnaha. Mugdha means Kṛṣṇa, who is the son of Devaki, Nanda and Yashoda. And Sarvajnaha means he who is all cognizant. Mugdha means he who is innocent, he who is naive, he who is completely under the curtain of Yogamaya. So Kṛṣṇa as Nandanandan, as Mugdha, he's complaining, he's taking credit, he's playing, he's fighting, he's climbing the shoulder and stealing butter. But he as Sarvajnaha, as the all-knowing potency, son of Devaki and Vasudev, he is the one who's killing the demons. He's the one who's reducing the burden of Mother Earth. He's the one who's swallowing the forest fire. He's the one who's showing the universe in the mouth. So they're mixing together. And now when Akrura comes and takes Kṛṣṇa out of Vrindavan to Mathura, so then that Kṛṣṇa who came from Mathura and mixed into Kṛṣṇa, the son of Devaki and Vasudev, he was taken back to his parents. So Kṛṣṇa of Vrindavan never leaves Vrindavan. Krishno nyoyadu sambhuto ya purna sostyataparaha Vrindavanam parityajya sa kvachin naiva gacchati. Laghu Bhagavatamrit Sri Rup Goswami. Rup Goswami Pad was the first who reconciled these things. He asked many controversial questions. It was Rupa Goswami who asked this question, that if Kṛṣṇa was taken on the chariot by Akrura to Mathura, then Kṛṣṇa did leave Vrindavan. Then why are we saying Kṛṣṇa never leaves Vrindavan? And if he leaves Vrindavan, if he does leave Vrindavan as Devaki's son and doesn't leave Vrindavan as Yashoda's son, then how do we see that Kṛṣṇa in Dwaraka, who is Devaki's son, feels separation from Vrindavan? When the Vrindavan Kṛṣṇa has not left, where is the question of separation? So all this Sri Rupa Goswami posed for the first time in Laghu Bhagavatamritam and answered it also. And Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, as his disciple, successor and descendant, he continued the theme in Gopal Champu and Shat Sandarbhas, etc. So in short, if we have to reconcile, Devaki and Vasudeva are worshipable. They are eternal parents of Kṛṣṇa in Mathura and Dwaraka. And Nanda and Yashoda are worshipable because they are eternal parents of Kṛṣṇa in Vrindavan. But between the two, one manifested and one gave birth. There was Janma of Kṛṣṇa through Nanda and Yashoda. The umbilical cord was cut, it is described. And for Devaki Rani, she appeared. She made Kṛṣṇa's appearance in the prison house. Through her love and Vasudev's love, they made Kṛṣṇa appear in the prison house. And there, if you see, he was not born nangam nangam. He was born with clothes. He had his ornaments. He didn't cry. But Gopal did all of that. He cried. He laughed. He developed teeth. He had problems wearing a langot or a kopin. All of those leelas are for Yashodanandan, not for Devaki Nandan. Devaki Nandan, as soon as he appeared, Sashanka Chakram, Sakirita Kundalam, and he started speaking the past 3 lives of his parents. Who can do that? Only God can do that. Therefore, Tatascha Shaurer Bhagavat Prachoditaha Sutam Samadaya Sasutika Grihat. He appeared as Bhagavan in the prison house, but immediately became a baby when Vasudev carried. It's not that the baby became Bhagavan. The Bhagavan appeared as 400 form. He manifested his form as a baby. But Kṛṣṇa, he never showed his form as Bhagavan because he's completely convinced that I am the son of Yashoda. So when they mix together, that's when we see sweetness and opulence performing pastimes in Braj. So now, Devaki Rani, although Kṛṣṇa spent more time with her and she did make Kṛṣṇa appear, 4 examples were given. Just like the moon rises in the eastern direction, just like Varahadev appears from the nostril of Brahma, just like Nrsingadev appears from the pillar, Stamba, and how Krishna appeared from the womb of Uttara by entering the womb to protect Parikshit. But in all four cases, we don't consider the source to be the actual manifested parents. So now when this is understood, when this is reconciled, that we don't say one is the parent, other is not. We say both are, but in their eternal parallel universes of Mathura and Dwarka and Vrindavan. So in this way, Gargacharya's words of Bahuni, there are many forms, there are many abodes, there are many parents. In the present tense, in the plural usage, has been reconciled with the Devakyam Devarupinyam, Krishna appearing through Devaki as the moon rises in the east, and also the consideration of Nanda, Yashoda, and Devaki and Vasudeva. I hope this is uh, cemented in our heart. Now, another box that we were talking about, which needs to be reconciled, is if this is also, then why do we hear that Krishna, or as Vishnu in the prison house, he spoke the past three lives of Devaki and Vasudeva? If we say Devaki and Vasudeva are eternally Krishna's parents in Mathura and Dwaraka, then where is the question of past three lives? Because we know in the Bhagavatam, Vishnu or Sri Hari told Devaki Vasudeva of Sutapa and Prishni. First incarnation as Prishni Garbha, then the second incarnation Kashyapa and Aditi as Vamana, and third incarnation Devaki Vasudeva giving birth to Vasudeva Sri Krishna. Three incarnations. So if they are eternal, then where is the question of three incarnations? To add more trouble to the story, we continue reading, because now we will hear the past life of Nanda and Yashoda also. And then we will try to reconcile all of that. If they're all eternal, where is the question of past life? So let's continue reading, and then we will try to solve the mystery. Text 46. Sri Raja Uvacha. Nanda kim akarod brahman shreya evam mahodayam yashoda cha mahabhaga papo yasyastanam hari. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Having heard of the great fortune of Mother Yashoda, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukdev Goswami, O learned Brahmana, Mother Yashoda's breast milk was accepted by the Supreme Lord. What past auspicious activities did she and Nanda Maharaj perform to achieve such perfection in ecstatic love? 47. Pitaro nanva vindetam krishnodhararbhake hitam gayantyadhyapi kavayo yalloka shamalapaham. Although Krishna was so pleased with Vasudeva and Devaki that he descended as their son, they could not. In continuation with our discussion, so we can put all those pieces together. Although Krishna was so pleased with Vasudeva and Devaki that he descended as their child or their son, they could not enjoy Krishna's magnanimous childhood pastimes, which are so great that simply chanting about them vanquishes the contamination of the material world. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, however, enjoyed these pastimes fully, and therefore their position is always better than that of Vasudeva and Devaki. Now, are we able to appreciate these words of Srimad Bhagavatam? So beautiful. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Krishna actually took birth from the womb of Devaki, but just after his birth, he was transferred to the home of Yashoda. Devaki could not have given Krishna her breast milk. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj was astonished. How had Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj become so fortunate that they enjoyed the complete childhood pastimes of Krishna, which are still glorified by saintly persons? What had they done in the past by which they were elevated to such exalted position? Naturally, this question can come. What did Yashoda Rani do? What did Nanda Baba do? Well, asking this question is not wrong, because if Gopya kim acharadayam kushalam sma venu damodaradhara sudhamapi gopikanam, when Sri Radharani is asking what has the flute done in his past life. So this is tradition. When somebody is fortunate, it is good to ask the question, what could have they done in their past life? If I know that, then I can do that in this life and become as fortunate as them in the next, right? So naturally this question arises, what did they do in their past life? The answer is, long story short, reading through Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Krishna Sandarbha, the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to this verse, and Prabhupada's purports. If you put all this together, In simple words, the answer is, what did Nanda and Yashoda do in past life? They did nothing. Why? Because you have to do something to get something. They already have it. They don't, it is like saying, Krishna, what austerities did he perform to become God? He didn't have to perform, he doesn't have to perform any austerity because Krishna is, in the present tense, God. There was never a time, Natve Vaham Jatunasam Natve Neme Janadipa. Never was there a time when Krishna did not exist and he existed, but he was something else and he did tapasya to become God. Eternal. Santi, present tense. In this world, Srila Prabhupada writes in one place, in this world there is past, present, and future tense. But in Krishna Lila, in the spiritual world, there is always present tense. There is no past tense, there is no future tense. There's always present tense. Krishna Lila is always going on in the moment. Now, how that is, we'll have to go there and find it ourselves so that we understand how the present tense works in the passage of time. So, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Rani, they don't have to do anything. They own Krishna completely. Krishna is their child. But now, here is an interesting thing. Later in this chapter, we will find Putri Bhute Janardhane. I'm just going to bring your attention to text 51 of this chapter, only to come back to make a certain point. Tato bhaktir bhagavati putri bhute janardhane dampatyor nitaram asid gopa gopishu bharata. Prabhupada's translation. Therefore, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharatas, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead became the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they maintained continuous, unswerving devotional love and parental affection. And in their association, all the other inhabitants of Braja, the Gopas and Gopis, developed the culture of Krishna Bhakti. Now, in the second sentence of this, or the second line of this verse, is Putri Bhute Janardhane. That Janardhana became their child. Putri Bhute. Krishna became the child of Nanda and Yashoda. This is what it means. Putri Bhute Janardhane means Janardhana Krishna, who maintains the whole creation, he became their child. So we just said he is always their child. So how did he become their child? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sri Jiv Goswami, they answer this by saying, Krishna is Bhagavan. He is all-knowing. He is the supreme absolute truth. But he forgets his identity as Bhagavan and prefers to become a mukta, an innocent, a simple child for Nanda and Yashoda eternally. Why? Because of their love. Nanda and Yashoda love Krishna so much. The only qualification to attract Krishna's attention is bhakti, is love. Sneha. Sneha pravriddha kalila. This came previously. Sneha kalila. Yashoda's heart brims with affection. And because of this love, they don't have to perform any other sadhana. Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Rani, sitting in some cave or bathing in some kund or performing some vrat or taking diksha from some guru and chanting some mantra, 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds. Not that they were not following the 4 regulative principles or 16 rounds, but the point is, it was not a sadhana for them to attain Krishna. They love Krishna so spontaneously that Putri Bhute Janardhane, Bhagwan, who is the form of opulence. He is the form of the source of everything. He is the origin for everything. But he prefers to hide that identity and become a child eternally, being attracted to the love of Nanda and Yashoda. This is what Putri Bhute Janardhane means. Bhagwan became a child, Putri Bhut, which means he is always a child, but he is also Bhagwan. So, but from Bhagwan forgetting that he is Bhagwan and becoming a child, he did that transition for Nanda and Yashoda because of their love. And this happens eternally. Every moment, this is an eternal Nitya Leela. Every moment, God in some universe, this is another understanding, either eternally in that universe or second understanding, in this universe, when Nanda and Yashoda appear, God is continuously becoming at some moment in some world or the other. He's appearing to Nanda and Yashoda. Therefore, God, Putri, Bhute Janardhane. He became. Continuously, he is becoming the child for Nanda and Yashoda. Although eternally he is their child, but in this world, as they are appearing, the Janmotsav, the Janmashtami is taking place, and Krishna is becoming their child continuously. Putri Bhute Janardhane. This is the understanding. In some parallel readings of the Bhagavatam, this verse, instead of Putri Bhute, it is Putra Bhute Janardhane. Putra instead of Putri. And what does that mean? Their Bhuta means in the past. He who was a child in the past became their child. Which means he is continuously their child. He who was their child became their child. Like that. So many explanations our acharyas have given in this regard. So now, as all of these points are settled in our mind, now another controversy will begin. The controversy is, Shukdev Goswami will start speaking of the past life of Nanda and Yashoda. So we will get into that now. Amazing, really amazing. When we thought there is one answer to one question, once we understand the answer to that question, another question comes up. And then that gets answered, leaving us to the third box of mystery, which is the third question. So 48. Shri Shukha Uvacha. Drono Vasunam Pravaro Dharaya Bharyaya Saha Karishyamana Adejan Brahmanastam Uvacha. Shukdev Goswami said, to follow the orders of Lord Brahma, Drona, the best of the Vasus, along with his wife Dhara, spoke to Lord Brahma in this way. 49. Jatayor nau Mahadeve Bhuvi Vishweshware Harau Bhakti Syat Parama Loke Yayanjo Durgatim Taret. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Drona and Dhara said, please permit us to be born on the planet Earth so that after our appearance, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, the Master of all planets will also appear and spread devotional service, the ultimate goal of life, so that those born in this material world may very easily be delivered from the miserable condition of materialistic life by accepting this devotional service. Now, interestingly, in the Garga Samhita, there is a reference of two heavenly personalities by the name Drona and Dhara. This story is there in the Garga Samhita. So Gargacharya was the start of our Katha series, and Gargacharya is the conclusion of our Katha series. So in the Garga Samhita, the compilation of Garga Muni, there is past life description of Nanda and Yashoda, where it says that two Vasus, two heavenly entities, they performed tapasya. It is described they came to Mandara hill and they performed Vrat tapasya for a long time, and Brahmaji appeared to them and said, what do you want? And they said, we have this desire to give birth to the Supreme Lord, the cause of this world. He should become our child. We want to become the father of the Supreme Father. We want to become the mother of the Supreme Mother. Brahmaji said, Tadastu, may that be so. And then it is described, they appeared as Nanda and Yashoda. Drona and Dhara in their next life appeared as Nanda and Yashoda, and Krishna appeared to them. So now this is the piece from Garga Samhita and from Bhagavatam. So what controversy does it lead to? It leads to the confusion that if Nanda and Yashoda are eternal, and we said they don't have to perform any tapasya, Nanda Maharaj doesn't have to perform tapasya for Gopal to hold his little finger. Yashoda Rani doesn't have to perform tapasya. Apart from having extreme, unparalleled love for Krishna, no other tapasya, Yashoda Rani has to perform for Krishna to leave the ocean of milk, to sleep on her lap and drink her milk. So if we know that they are eternal, then how are we saying that they had past life? And then if we also say Devaki and Vasudeva are eternal in Mathura and Dwaraka, then how is the Supreme Lord at birth in the prison house telling them 3 lives? Quite confusing. If you say Yashoda and Devaki are eternally parents of Krishna in Vrindavan, and Devaki and Vasudeva are eternally parents outside Vrindavan, then how we are saying Drona and Dhara are past life names of Nanda and Yashoda? How are we saying that Sutapa and Prushni and Kashyapa and Devaki, Vasudeva are past life names that they performed 3 lives of bhajan? How do we reconcile this? So, Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, very wonderfully, he quotes from the Vedanta Sutra in this regard. And he mentions that the understanding that we should inculcate, if there are two statements in Shastra, and if they seem to be opposite, then the Vedanta Sutra gives the direction according to Sri Jiva Goswami. One should reconcile them in a way that the first doesn't contradict the second. The first doesn't contradict the second. They have to be reconciled with proper Shastra Yukti, Sri Jiva Goswami says, on the basis of Vedanta Sutra. So how do we reconcile? These are two opposite statements. One statement is they are eternal, another statement is they took rebirth. So Sri Jiva Goswami Pad writes in his Sandarbhas, just like Kṛṣṇa can manifest many forms in the form of expansions and partial expansions, Krishna's associates can also give birth and manifest in partial expansions. Just like Kṛṣṇa can have avatar, and he can have avatar from that avatar, and then he can have avatar from that avatar from that avatar. Similarly, Krishna's associates can also do that. So, the three incarnations we spoke about, they are partial expansions of Devaki and Vasudeva. And Drona and Dhara are partial expansions of Nanda and Yashoda. Nanda and Yashoda are the original. Devaki and Vasudeva are the original. And the past life are simply expansions who merged into the whole. So, for example, if you take water in a palm and you put it into the pond, it's quite interesting. You first remove the water from a palmful of water from the pond and then you put it back into the pond. So they originally are expansion from the original and then they mix back into the original. So it's not that the palm water became the kunda. If somebody comes midway and sees, oh, you took water in your palm and you dropped it to the ground and it became a pond. No, the pond always existed. I took water from the pond and mixed it back into the pond. Similarly, Nanda and Yashoda eternally exist. And their partial expansion came as Drona and Dhara. They performed bhajan. And now when Nanda and Yashoda decided to come in this world, Drona and Dhara, the past life expansions, they merged into Nanda and Yashoda. It's not that Drona and Dhara became Nanda and Yashoda. They are expansions of Nanda and Yashoda and they mixed back into the whole, from the part to the whole. This is what Sri Jiva Goswami Pad, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all these wonderful Vaishnavas, they have given. And Srila Prabhupada quotes them also in this section. If we read the purport, Srila Prabhupada will quote portions of this. So it's brilliant. Srila Prabhupada also mentions a couple of these points in the Kṛṣṇa book in free-flowing narration, referring to some of these attributes. So it's very important to know all this. Somebody will say, Prabhu, I just want to chant and be happy. Why are you troubling us? Why are you speaking about whether this is partial expansion or original expansion or who is the original parent? How does it matter? Love Kṛṣṇa with all your heart and be happy. I don't have a problem. We all don't have a problem. But Kṛṣṇa in the Bhagavad Gita, he said, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha. Tattvataha means in truth. If somebody understands my birth and my activities as divine and they understand this in truth, if they take some effort in understanding this Siddhanta, Kṛṣṇa says, I promise, tyaktva deham punarjanma na iti mameti. Such a person doesn't take rebirth. I promise I will liberate him because he went through the struggle of understanding the nuances of my appearance and the how eternal and how temporary and how past life and reconciling all of that. Because a conditioned soul spends time in hearing this and understanding this, Krishna's heart melts in the Bhagavad Gita and he says, I promise, tyaktva deham punarjanma na iti. Such a person will not have rebirth. He will come to me. So in this way, this chapter is very beautifully concluded by Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami, in this, towards the end of this chapter, he says, so we'll read 50 also and then we'll read 52. Astvityuktasya Bhagavan vraje drono mahayasha jajne nanda iti khyato yashoda sa dhara bhavat. When Brahma said, yes, let it be so, the most fortunate Drona, appeared in Vrindavan as Nanda Maharaj, and his wife Dhara appeared as Yashoda. So now, in text 52, Krishno Brahmana Adesham Satyam Kartum Vraje Vibhu Saha Ramo Vasam Chakre Tesham Pritim Swalilaya. This is the last verse. Srila Prabhupada's translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, along with Balaram, lived in Braj Bhumi, Vrindavan, just to substantiate the benediction of Brahma. By exhibiting different pastimes in his childhood, he increased the transcendental pleasure of Nanda Maharaj and other inhabitants of Vrindavan. Because there is no purport to the last verse, I will read the previous purport, 51 of Srila Prabhupada, then we can discuss. Although when the Supreme Personality of Godhead stole the butter, curd and milk of the neighboring Gopas and Gopis, the teasing superficially seemed troublesome. In fact, it was an exchange of affection in the ecstasy of devotional service. The more the Gopas and Gopis exchanged feelings with Krishna, the more their devotional service increased. Sometimes we may superficially see that a devotee is in difficulty because of being engaged in devotional service, but the fact is different. This is very beautiful. Very beautiful. Sometimes we may feel, what is the use of chanting Hare Krishna? This devotee in the dham is weeping. We are hearing chant and be happy. But first you have to become chant and be sad in separation from Krishna. And in that separation, we become happy. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, just like the Gopas and Gopis, externally they're complaining about Krishna's tantrums and Krishna's childhood pastimes and Krishna's butter stealing pastimes, but actually they're not complaining. They're not troubled by Krishna. They are in ecstasy. Srila Prabhupada brings it to the practical experience of our devotional life, that when we see advanced Vaishnavas going through trouble, they're actually not going through trouble. The only trouble in their life is separation from Krishna. They don't have any other trouble in their life. Externally, we may seem that they are weeping, but they are weeping in joy, remembering Krishna. Just like the Gopas and Gopis externally are complaining, but they are actually glorifying Krishna. We'll continue reading. When a devotee suffers for Krishna, that suffering is transcendental enjoyment. Transcendental enjoyment. Unless one becomes a devotee, this cannot be understood. When Krishna exhibited his childhood pastimes, not only did Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda increase their devotional affection, but those in their association also increased in devotional service. In other words, persons who follow. Dear devotees, this line from Srila Prabhupada's purport is the conclusion of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, is the conclusion of Ragvartma Chandrika of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Prabhupada writes, in other words, persons who follow the activities of Vrindavan will also develop transcendental service in the highest perfection. Only those who hear about Vrindavan and develop in their heart a desire to become like one of those associates, only they can enter the dham and nobody else. Because the price to pay to enter Goloka Vrindavan is lobha. Lobha. Natra shastram cha yuktim cha tal lobha utpatti lakshanam. What causes attachment in this world is material greed. What causes liberation from this world and entrance into the spiritual world is transcendental greed. The greed that, of course, we cannot become like Yashoda Rani, but the desire, I wish I can become an associate of Yashoda Rani. I wish I can become a servant of Yashoda Rani. So Gopal, just like Sri Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri writes, a black bumblebee goes from one beautiful pink lotus to another pink lotus. Black bumblebee goes from one lotus to another. Similarly, the dark complexion Gopal as a baby went from one lotus palm to another in the hands of the gopis. So one may have desire in one's heart. I wish I can become one of those associates. I wish I can become an assistant to Sri Radharani. I wish I can become an assistant to Yashoda and Nanda Baba. I wish I can become an assistant to the friends of Krishna, like Subal. So depending on the sthai bhav we want to attain. So this greed, when it comes in the heart, that is what drags one to the spiritual abode. Shakale jagate more kare vidhi bhakti braja bhav paiti nahi shakti. Just by fearing God and just by being duty bound and performing sadhana because we have to, or I think I should, to save ourselves from hell or to liberate oneself to heaven, to fulfill material desires or a sense of duty as a human being. I have given my words to my guru. I think I should behave myself. I think I should chant. I should follow the regulative principles. If any of this is the stimulus for bhakti, we are not going back to Godhead. We are not going to Goloka Vrindavan. What drags one to Goloka Vrindavan is greed. Greed to attain that abode. Not material greed for money, women, etc. But the tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam koti janma sukritirna labhyate. Srila Prabhupada named ISKCON, or International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This term he borrowed from Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. This is a verse that is found, we find it's in the Padyavali, also quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that when one's mati, one's mind, buddhi, becomes completely saturated. I gave this example previously. It's like a gulla completely soaked in ras to become rasgulla. When it becomes rasgulla, it is very sweet, very tasty, and if you touch with a finger, some taste comes on our finger. If you squeeze, taste comes out. If you put it in the mouth, taste comes out. If you hold it, taste is in your hands. If you shake hands with someone, taste is in their hands. When one becomes like that, soaked in bhakti rasa, remembering Shri Krishna completely, no fear, not worshipping Krishna, because if you reject Krishna, you will go to hell. We don't care. That's not the point why we are worshipping Krishna. We want to worship Krishna. We want to serve Krishna. We want to sing, speak, hear, and remember Krishna out of affection. Just like a mother does not remember her child out of duty. I am a mother. All mothers remember their child. Therefore, it is my duty to remember my child. This is not why she is remembering her child. If she is told, if you forget your child, you will go to hell. No, I don't want to go to hell. Let me better remember my child. This is again not why she is remembering her child. She doesn't remember her child because she wants to attain something in life. She spontaneously remembers her child. When that loving affection and attachment and absorption is there in Bhagavan, in Sri Radharani, in Sri Shyamsundar, that is when one attains that abode. So when Srila Prabhupada writes, in other words, persons who follow the activities of Vrindavan will also develop devotional service in the highest perfection. That one sentence is the crux, the essence of all these verses and all these points we are mentioning. This lobh, this greed to attain Krishna is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. Many acharyas had given bhakti, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give bhakti rasa. Datte bhakti rasa sa eva bhagavan sa gaura eva gati. May that Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who didn't come in this world to give bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, many gave. But Sriman Mahaprabhu came in this world to give taste for hearing, taste for chanting, taste for remembering. That taste is what he gave. Giving somebody rasgulla or gulab jamun or roti, sabji, dal, rice is great. But if that person doesn't have taste or hunger, he will not eat. But imagine sitting next to that person and describing what was the menu in the marriage that's going on next door. Somebody attends that marriage and comes out and asks another person who's a bystander, a stranger, tells him, "Did you go to that marriage? Oh, the food is amazing." He said, "No, I have not gone in." "You should. Food is going on another for 10-15 minutes. It'll be over. Oh, there are 5 sabjis." And he starts describing the sabjis. Now, this person who had no hunger before, who had no invitation before, he will self-invite himself. He will go there and fill up his plate. Why? Because there was a person who tasted it and came out and described that taste selflessly, rising the taste and invoking that taste in the person who had no taste. This is why bhuvi grinantiye bhurida jana. Great Vaishnavas, when they speak Hari Katha, what happens is it whets our appetite. We have no invitation to the marriage. We have no taste or hunger in eating that meal. But when someone eats and comes out and describes it with enthusiasm, the person who had no interest now desires, "I wish I could enter. But what to do? There is a security guard out there. He will not let me in." Maya Devi. She doesn't let us go back home, back to God. How do I cheat? How do I make my way into that marriage, the spiritual world, to taste that mood? He becomes greedy. That greed is what lets the person in. Krishna doesn't follow mathematics. You do this, you do this, you do this, you attain him. No. Krishna gives himself to those who give themselves to him. If we do duty bound bhakti, we are chanting, okay, I'm done with my chanting, now I'll watch a movie. If this is the mood, we are chanting or reading or hearing to get done with it so that we can do something else. Good, but not the highest. The highest point is when one loves Krishna so much that one doesn't do Hari Katha for money. One doesn't do Kirtan for fame. One doesn't do service for acknowledgement. One doesn't want anything in return except the smile on the face of one's Ishtadev. Imagine making garlands and offering it to Radha and Shamsundar. And when the garland is garlanded, they look at the devotee who has made the garland and smile. For that smile, the devotee makes the garland. For the pleasure of the person that they love the most. This is Rag Bhakti. And Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. This is what Sriman Mahaprabhu came to give in this world. Sri Radharani is the abode of Madhuri Rati. Subal Sakha is the abode of Sakhya Rati. Yashoda Rani is the abode of Vatsalya Rati. So depending on what mood one wants to attain, one has to follow with greed in the heart an eternal associate of Goloka Vrindavan. So when Rag is there in the heart of those great Vaishnavas, these great personalities, they are called Rag Atmika. Rag Atmika Bhaktas. Unki Atma Rag se bhari hai. Their existence is completely saturated with Rag. Rag means attachment. And when devotees in this world follow in their footsteps, saying, I want to attain the position of being a maidservant of Yashoda Rani, that is called Rag Anuga Bhakti. Following in their footsteps to attain that mood. So what Srila Prabhupada writes here in other words, persons who follow the activities of Vrindavan will also develop devotional service in the highest perfection. This one line of the purport can be fluffed out and a book can be written out of it. That's how rich this one line in the purport is. So finally, in this way, this chapter gets completed and Shukdev Goswami mentions that Mother Yashoda, she realizes, I think my Gopal is really hungry. He goes around in the neighbor's house stealing butter. He went held not to steal. He sits in our home and eats mud. Mother Yashoda feels something has to be done for him. And what she does? Very simple. Chapter 9 begins. We are not going to do chapter 9, which is Damodar Leela, but we'll just speak a little about it. In chapter 9, Mother Yashoda, she starts churning for Krishna with the desire that my Gopal, I don't want him to eat dirt. I don't want him to steal butter. If he wants butter, I will make butter for him. But there's enough butter at home. Why he doesn't eat? Yashoda Rani is thinking, oh, maybe because the dasis are making, all the maidservants at home, they are making, so maybe they're not attentive enough. Maybe they're not loving enough. Maybe the taste is not very good. So now what I will do is, I know Krishna loves butter. I know Krishna loves sweets, milk sweets. I will make it for him with my own hands. So chapter 9 begins. Ekada grihadasishu yashodanandagehini karmantara niyuktaso nirmamantha swayam dadhi. Ekada. One day, what did Yashoda Rani do? Ekada grihadasishu. She took all her maidservants and she said, I want all of you to relieve yourself from your services of making butter for Gopal. I will do it for him. And I want you to take care of other activities. So, karma antara niyuktasu. She gave all her dasis other services at home, and she, Yashoda Rani, being Nanda Gehini. Nanda Gehini means the queen of Nanda Maharaj, the wife of Nanda Maharaj. She had no past experience personally as the queen to do for the whole house because she always had help. But now, personally, for her Gopal, Yashoda, Ekada, Grihadasishu, Yashoda Nandagehini, Yashoda, the queen of Vrindavan, the wife of Nanda Maharaj. She personally took the ropes in her hand and she started churning for Krishna. And as she was churning, it is described by Sri Jiva Goswami in Sri Gopal Champu. She was singing very sweet songs for Krishna. She was singing songs like, Krishna, when you had not appeared, we were very much in pain. We were waiting for you. There was void in our heart. There was lack of joy. But when you appeared, Krishna, there was Mahotsava. There was an explosion of joy. Now, Krishna is actually sleeping in the bed. Mother Yashoda is not speaking to Krishna. She is churning and she's singing about Gopal. Krishna is sleeping in the neighboring room, in the bedroom. But Yashoda Rani is churning and she's remembering Gopal. And in that song, Sri Jiva Goswami writes, Yashoda Rani was singing, after you appeared, Krishna, life changed for us. There was explosion of joy. You are the pearl of our eyes. You are the Anjana of our eyes. Krishna, your pastimes are like the Karnikara flower for our ears. To hear about you, to see you, to speak about you, Krishna. This tongue is always aspiring for the most tastiest preparation. The tastiest preparation is to describe your activities. Krishna, but when Putana came, we were all scared. Yashodarani is working and she is singing about Gopal. Krishna, but when Putana appeared, we were all scared. But thank God, by the blessings of Narayana, by the blessings of Vishnu, you were protected, you were saved. Oh Krishna, every single day I pray for you that may you live long, may you have no diseases, may you have no old age, may all your past reactions come to me, may all my good happiness come to you. Krishna, as I am churning this butter for you, my only desire is I keep you on my lap and feed you with all affection so that you grow up to become a very wonderful person. You will be the king in the future. I don't want you to eat from the floor. I don't want you to steal from neighbor's house. Oh Krishna, my only desire and only prayer to Vishnu is, may you become a good devotee in your life. May you live long and always smile and be happy and keep everyone happy around you. In this mood, Yashoda Rani, Sri Jiva Goswami writes, she was churning and remembering Krishna. What happens next? We will see tomorrow. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yashoda Rani ki jai, Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jagannath Krishna Prabhu, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. And may I request Gaurangishan Prabhuji, I think is here, to come online, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. We are very happy to see you and hear from you. Welcome.
Hare Hare. Dandat Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you so much for describing all the controversies or confusions about the identities of Krishna's two sets of parents, Yashoda Mata and Nanda Maharaj, and Devaki and Vasudeva. And especially I liked how Dhara and Drona are partial expansions of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. And it's like a palm full of water taken from a kund and merged back into the kund. I never had such a wonderful explanation, Prabhu. It makes it very clear and easily understandable. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You are explaining all these pastimes not only with so much of relish, but you're also resolving all the technical aspects of these chapters as if in Telugu we say peeling the banana and then feeding the banana into the mouth of the person. That's how simplified your presentation is. We can easily understand very technical aspects also. And yesterday, although I could not come online, I was hearing on YouTube. You also spoke so beautifully the conversation between Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata after Yashoda Mata saw the universe in Krishna's mouth. You are quoting so many songs from Surdas and explaining so sweetly That was also very nice, Prabhu. Today you spoke Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tatvatah Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna. So we should not be lazy to understand all these beautiful, finer, minute details of these pastimes of Krishna, especially when we have access to those details given in our Acharya's commentaries. So that will enable us to reach Krishna when we understand Krishna's appearances and activities nicely. This also reminds me of another beautiful shloka that Sukadeva Goswami speaks in the 10th canto, somewhere in 11th chapter. Iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katha muda kurvanto ramamanascha navindam bhava vedana. Krishna goes into the forest along with Balaram and all the gopas, and some demons come and attack these boys, and Krishna kills them, whether it is Vatsasur or Bakasur or any other asur. Krishna kills them, and all these young boys, little gopas, they come back from the forest to their homes and give a report to their parents. Oh, Nanda Maharaj, oh my dear father, my dear mother, this is how Krishna killed these demons. So, iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katha muda. All these gopas headed by Nanda Maharaj, they were discussing the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with so much of happiness, so much of satisfaction. Kurvanto ramamanascha. And what is the effect? Navindam bhava vedanam. They did not experience any material tribulations. We can't imagine where they are. They are in Vrindavan. Practically every day some demon is coming and disturbing the peace of Vrindavan. But these devotees are very peaceful. They did not experience any material tribulations, although there are constant attacks of demons. Why? Because they are absorbed in Krishna Rama Katha. So just like an intoxicated person, he becomes oblivious to the surroundings. People are commenting, people are scolding him. He's completely oblivious to the surroundings. Similarly, one who is intoxicated by the real intoxicant of Harikatha becomes oblivious to the material tribulations and temptations around him. So, the process of hearing Harikatha, this Krishna Katha, will make us immune to all the temptations and tribulations around us. Not only that, by hearing Harikatha only we develop that greed. Prabhu, especially the last 10-15 minutes that you spoke today about greed, laulyam, lobha, for intensified devotion for Krishna, to intensify our sadhana, that I need to hear repeatedly, Prabhu. I'll have to transcribe that 10-15 minutes part and repeatedly read it and remind myself how we have to be very greedy, how we have to develop that laulyam. And one beautiful thing that you mentioned is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come to give us bhakti. He came to give us bhakti rasa. Patra patra vicharanam na kurute na swamparam vikshate. Deya deya vimarshako nahinava kala pratiksha prabhu. Sadyo yah shravane pranamana dhyanadina durlabham datti bhakti rasam sa eva bhagavan gaura param me gati. I think today I understood the third line of the shloka better. So, Mahaprabhu, Deya Deya Vimarshako Nahinava Kalah Pratiksha Prabhu, till then it's clear. Then Sadyo Yaha Shravane Kshana Pranamana Dhyanadina Durlabham. Our Shravana and our Ikshana, our taking of darshan, our hearing of Harikatha, our Archana, our worship of Krishna will not give us bhakti rasa. They're a part of bhakti, but Mahaprabhu has come to give us bhakti rasa, which is very, very difficult to attain by these regular elements of bhakti. So he came to give us rasa. That's amazing, Prabhu. You have highlighted that. And also, at last, you mentioned how Krishna reciprocates with our service with a smile, and our aspiration should be to see smile on Krishna's face. Not that when we give Harikatha, we want claps and whistles of people, or we do some service for recognition or appreciation or claps. So not such a motivated practice of devotional activities, but we have to be selfless we should have a desire to just see Krishna happy. As Brahma says, Mukhena lokarti harasmitena parisfurat kundala manditena shonayitena dharabimba bhasa pratyarhayantam sunasena subhrava. Brahma says, Mukhena loka arti harasmitena. The beautiful smile, enchanting smile on Krishna's face, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu's face, completely dispels the distress of all of us. And Shonayitena means Krishna or Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu here. He thanks or he acknowledges the hard work and service rendered by his devotees with a smile. And our as devotees, our aspiration should be to just see that smile on Krishna's face, not aspire for anything else. So these are some very beautiful points that I could recollect from your class. Very beautiful. And I can't believe that this series is ending tomorrow, Kartik Purnima. So may this Kartik month be for 365 days so that we can hear Harikatha from you every day, not just 35 days. So, but still all good things have to come to an end, but they need not end as long as we repeatedly recollect these memories and refresh our and rejuvenate our enthusiasm to practice bhakti. And Prabhu, as per your request, yesterday I offered obeisances to Sri Radha Vrindavan Bihari on your behalf and also on the behalf of all the devotees who are attending Kartik Katha. Not only Radha Vrindavan Bihari, also Radha Madan Mohan and Shri Giriraj Govardhan. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. His Grace Amrinder Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Such a wonderful gift, Prabhuji. Such a wonderful gift. You are such a wonderful gift in all of our lives. Krishna is so kind to give Vaishnavas of your caliber. Thank you. Thank you for sharing such amazing, amazing nectar drops, for quoting that verse from Chaitanya Chandramritam, quoting Brahmaji's appreciation of the Lord's smile. Thank you so much for teaching us. Our Gauranga Darshan Prabhu teaches Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, all the books of Srila Prabhupada in and out continuously for so many years. But he's teaching us such amazing humility that it is not that at any point we should think that, oh, I know and therefore I don't need to. He's very kind to teach us all of that. So we can all try to imbibe that mood. And he's extremely scholarly, extremely friendly and humble and dipped in service attitude, dressing Radha Vrindavan Bihari as a wonderful pujari. When Prabhu dresses Radha Vrindavan Bihari, they look very, very beautiful. They look beautiful all the time, but they reciprocate to the love of Prabhu's sincere devotion. And living in Govardhan Eco Village as a very dear, surrendered disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Prabhu has got smile to the face of so many Prabhupada disciples. And Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj is so proud of his services. So Prabhu, we are extremely, extremely touched and extremely grateful that you spend daily in the month of Kartik, you spend your time with us and you hear and you reflect. And I feel embarrassed when you say some kind words at the end. But if I have to tolerate that, to hear the nectar and have your association, we are all happy to seek that. Thank you, Prabhu. We will see you tomorrow. We will eagerly wait to hear from you tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Thank you so
Prabhu.
much. And
Whatever you spoke at the end, I hope and pray that they'll become true one day. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
thank you. Thank you. And please do continue to offer your prayers for us. We need it. We all run on the fuel of prayers of Vaishnavas. So thank you. Please do protect us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.